Good morning. How are you? That's good. Actually, before I start, you guys can, wait, did you guys already share how your week was? Okay, I want you to turn to the person next to you and share how your week was for like 3 minutes. All right, you guys can start wrapping up. It looks like you guys had a great week. All right, cool. Yeah, I just wanted to do that because I always like doing that. That's it. There's no relation to this presentation. So yeah, today's topic I will talk about is making God real, like making God a personal God to you. And does anyone know what I've been doing these past 5 years? um, Let me tell you. It's pretty simple. I haven't been here for the past 5 years, so I don't know where to point this. Oh, right there. Okay, so I've been doing GPA for 3 years, and then I've been doing CARP for 2 years in Maryland, and then during GPA I went to uh, Paraguay, Czech Republic, and Peru to do witnessing and missionary work. And then I've been continuing to do school in Maryland, and then also doing CARP as well. So that's a quick intro what I've been doing this past 5 years. Um, Thank you. But a lot of people do this, so it's not just me. um, yeah, and so I think overall, going through these past 5 years, I've learned a lot, and I've come to realize more about what this faith personally means to me, and I guess like this is something I want to share to everybody here. What I've learned. And so that's why I wanted to make the topic how to make God real to you, because that's something that I learned myself personally throughout these 5 years. And so, yeah, so actually, I want to go into another discussion question, but who is God to you? So you can go to maybe another person and share like 5 minutes. I know talking is scary, but you know everyone's got to do it at some point in your life. Okay, you guys can start wrapping up. anyone need more time? Okay, I'll give like 1 more minute. All right, never mind, not 1 minute. I'll have 10 more seconds. Okay, so you guys can shout it out. Who is God to you? So you don't have to raise your hand. You can just shout it out. So, what? Loving parent. I like that. Anybody else? Teacher. Teacher, right? Did I hear that right? Okay, cool. Nice. Steven, what did you say? Just kidding. These guys' mouths weren't moving so much. So, this is a very simple definition of what God is. So, yeah, basically what I was hoping to hear was that everybody had some kind of different answer, like personally to them. And yeah, I think many people have this understanding, especially in like religion, because religion believes God. But basically, like a lot of people think like God is kind of up there in the sky, like doing nothing and like watching over you, or like someone who's like basically controlling your fate and your future, and like you have no control over that. Um, and yeah, so basically everybody has different concepts of who God is, and yeah, and so actually to understand like who God is, and a lot of people have like a very conceptual reasoning or belief of who God is. Maybe not in this church, but in other communities and in this society in general. So ultimately, in order for people to really understand like heart to heart, or like I guess like personally like who God is, like like someone who you meet as like a friend or like a parent or like someone who's like always next to you or something, like to really understand that, like if it's really like up to you, obviously. Um, but it's not just like hearing from what other people has to say, but it like really has to like come from you. And yeah, I mean honestly, like everybody can guide you, like who God is, like your mentors or your um, older brothers and sisters, but it's ultimately like up to you to kind of take on like those tips and tricks to understand who God is and build your relationship with him. And so yeah, you have to be the one to experience it, or it'll be really conceptual to you, is really what I'm trying to say. And yeah, and I guess, I don't know why I'm saying this to you guys, but I think this is just a general statement. So yeah, I think personally for me, kind of experiencing GPA and CARP, I think, um, I guess before that, my concept of God is very, I don't care. I don't care who God is. I don't see God. I can't feel him, touch him, hear him, whatever. And so it didn't really matter to me like what my purpose in life was, or like, yeah, my only purpose was to be happy and like satisfied with what I want, and that's it. And so I think overall, like, I think growing up, that's something that came to me. But I think during these past 5 years, I've come to realize that God isn't something that's like next to me or like above me or like anywhere else, but instead, like, actually, He's inside here. Like, He's always like a part of you in some way, shape, or form. And like basically it's your responsibility to grow that godliness within yourself, or that uniqueness within yourself, because obviously it's hard to believe in God because you can't see him, or like he's like next to you, or like a lot of people have like these spiritual revelations, and I'm not a very spiritual person, and so I don't even see a single spirit, and all I see is like people and flesh and human beings and animals, and that's it. So I don't, but that's why it's hard for me to believe in God in the way that people see it. And the reason why it's hard for me to believe that is because everybody have their own way to experience God. and that's what makes it unique with each one of them. And so, yeah. Okay, I'm on the right slide. Great. So I have another question for you guys that you guys can discuss. I guess you can go back to your original partner or somebody else. But how do you meet God? Like what do you do on a daily basis to connect with God? And if you can't connect, how come? Okay, you guys can start wrapping up. Okay, great. Um, yeah, I hope you guys had a good discussion. If you guys were still sharing about how your week was, that's also great. Um, but yes, does anyone have would like to share about how they connect with God? You can shout it out again. In nature, people. Steven, what about you? Just kidding. Normal. Um, I like that. Listening. All right. Cool. Yeah, those were all good, great answers. Actually, I can't judge if they were great answers because that's how you personally connect with God. But those are great. Oh, another one?
I read a lot. I do a lot of Father Cave, and I read a lot of other speeches about God. And I'm very moved. I cry. I cry a lot.
Hmm.
Every day I do this 100K, and I come to a new realization. I realize the heart and love of God. Why He created what He did, and why He's here with us. And then I experienced God when I met the sisters from our church first. I noticed how they lived, very different from the rest of Christianity, how they were able to thank God and pray. And I started to pray like that. And then my spiritual life really started. And later on, one time, I did not have a job in the summer in Colorado. And I did a lot of 100K, 1, 2 hours. And one time, I bowed and I really concentrated on God. And when I went up, suddenly there was this strong energy in front of me. I couldn't see it, but it was there. And I had a feeling that it was God Himself. I believe that nobody can take this from me. And I still believe that. And so I know God is always there with me. And when I bow in the morning, I actually bow in four directions because God is all around, all around. And this day makes me very strong, secure. So I know I'm with God and God is with me. That's my experience.
Hmm.
That's how I meet God.
Wow. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's a great like story to really. It's like a unique story that can really connect personally with God. It's like this is your, I guess, your God in a sense. So I think that's good. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Um, yeah, and so I think everybody has different ways to connect with God, and um, yeah, and also everybody else's answers were different. I didn't hear any different answer yet, or you might have said it, but anyways, um, so yeah, and so I think what basically the point is because everybody has different ways to connect with God, and sometimes it might be hard to believe in God here and there, or like connect with God. But I think the main point that I'm trying to share is that one is God is always there, like in you, like 24/7, like 24 hours of the day, and 24 hours in one day, in 1 week, God is always there. um, yeah, even though you're on your lows or your highs, like it doesn't really matter like what you're going through because God is the one like in you, and basically like um, even though He might be really small like to you, like it might be like someone you might not even care about, or like someone who you really have a deep love for, like He's always there. And uh, yeah, I think that's also something I realized in my experiences as well. And also, um, yeah, I think, anyways. So, so how can we connect with God? You know, because I mean, obviously, as everyone had shared, like everyone had different reasons or ways to connect with God. But how do we connect with God? Um, Sorry, I put a lot of question marks here. Okay, there we go. So I want to share this quote from the principle, but it says, "We have learned that every creation is God's substantial object partner formed in His likeness as a discrete projection of His dual characteristics. God exists as the incorporeal subject partner to all beings, and human beings are object partners embodied at the level of image, and the rest of creation are object partners embodied at the level of symbol. These object partners are called individual embodiments of truth in image and in symbol." And that's a lot of words. So I think one thing that I would like to kind of mention is like, yeah, we're all formed in His likeness, or we're all individual embodiments of truth. And so the reason why I kind of brought that up is because we, each of us as human beings, we all kind of inherit this individual embodiment of truth. We express a certain aspect of truth that comes out more than compared to what other people bring out. And so that's what I trying to say when I say that God is within you like 24/7. Like, yeah, we're all a part of like God's creation. We're all part of like a small like puzzle piece of God's creation. And so yeah, and basically everything else is really complicated, so I can't explain everything. But basically what I'm trying to say is that we're all unique. And so it's up to you to bring that out. And so yeah, everybody has different passions, right? Like everybody has different hobbies. It would be really boring if everybody was like Pastor Gloria and everybody was a pastor. Like who would be the one listening, you know? No one, because everyone's trying to be a pastor and talking all the time. So we do need audiences like you guys to listen. So yeah, I don't want like 10,000 people up here and nobody over there. So we're all unique, and we have different ways to kind of express God's love to other people. And that's what we have to kind of find out ourselves. Because, you know, I'm not like Precious. You know, she has puffy hair and glasses and different glasses, and her style is different. She's a girl, I'm a guy. And she also has a different personality. She has different ways to express God's love. For me, I express God's love in a different way. And sometimes I might act a little funny or a little dumb to kind of express that, which happens all the time. And it goes too far sometimes. But it's a different way to express that. And basically, it's up to you to bring that out. And I don't remember the speech that True Mother said a while back. I forgot which year either, but it was something about a puzzle piece, how each of us are like a puzzle piece, and we kind of need each other to get kind of like the full picture to express fully of a God, the expression of God. And so yeah, although like each of us have our own personal experiences, that's what makes us important because we're all different. And yeah, and yeah, so we're all unique. So because we're all unique, how can we make kind of God real to ourselves? And these are the points I kind of learned throughout the past couple of years of how I felt like I could connect with God personally and experience Him. So that's what I'm going to share because, yeah. So the first point is to discover your passion. It's a pretty simple statement, and I won't go too deep on like God or like prayer or Handake or whatever. It's more like kind of practical things that I learned. I felt like I could connect with God, and so I feel like through discovering your passion or the things that you like to do, that can definitely help express like that uniqueness within yourself. Because there's like a lot of singers, there's like a lot of professional sports players and things like that, but they have their own like unique way to kind of express themselves. But also, kind of using that passion to really be able to help others and like, I guess like, discover your passion basically with a higher purpose. And I think, oh, my passions aren't. Oh, they are in here. Never mind. But yeah, and so I feel like for me personally, I felt like finding my own passions that helped me realize like what I like and not what others like, and not comparing to what others like too, because my motivation of finding my own passions was a lot higher than just like being judged for what I do and whatever. And that didn't make me care about anything else, but it made me kind of strive for what I actually want to do. So I actually have one more discussion question for you guys to talk about, but this is a pretty simple one, but what are you guys passionate about and how do you want to use that to help others? All right, you guys can start wrapping up. What's so funny? All right, cool. Um, do you guys want to share what you're passionate about, or else I'll just share mine? Um, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, you can just shout it out what you're passionate about. Yeah. Okay, great. That's wonderful. I'm glad that's something you're passionate about. I hope you can find other passions that you're passionate about. Oh, don't worry, I made a slide exactly for that. This is what I'm passionate about. I like playing the guitar on my own um, because I really like music. It helps me to feel good. Um, but I also, okay, I don't like engineering, but I am kind of talented or gifted at math and science. So math plus science equals engineering, right? So there you go. I am passionate about that, but also I'm also passionate about the environment of. I care about the creation itself and trying to preserve it. Sometimes I kind of forget, but that's my day-to-day life. But engineer plus environment equals environmental engineering. So that's something that I want to pursue in my career. So hopefully, yeah. Anyways, that's something I'm passionate about. But also, like, I want to use like that passion to kind of help others or kind of help like to create like a better world, and that's also something I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about a lot of different things too. Like I'm also passionate to self development, leadership, kind of leadership, but growing myself, and also I am very passionate to help others relate with certain things. Um, yeah, so whenever there's like little kids that's like in front of me or like people who are like kind of uncomfortable or shy and things like that, I kind of break the ice by doing something really dumb and stupid. So like, I don't know. So I like helping people feel comfortable in their environment. And so that's the reason why I act dumb. If you're ever wondering why I'm acting like this or like that. So yes, and yeah, and so I feel like through discovering these passions, it helped me a lot to really connect with something higher than myself, and that naturally helped me connect with God too, because God is a being of love, and because it's basically a common base kind of thing. Like because He likes loving people, I like loving things. It connects, so it kind of helped me realize something better. So, yeah, I think I encourage you to kind of find that passion, or if you already have it, to kind of dig deeper into it so that you can maybe explore and try things. Which comes to my next point is something I've learned is to always try, at least try. Um, if you don't, then obviously the thought of God or believing in God is gonna always feel distant or very conceptual. So yeah, I mean, there's no. I mean, what's the point? Or well, how do you say it? Like, it's always good to jump in than not jump in because what's the consequences to not jumping in? So yeah, I mean, yeah, and obviously like don't make excuses like oh God is up there or like having these concepts like oh God is up there or like God is I can't connect with God because I'm losing a lot of games in my video games, and I'm very, very frustrated. Or, oh, my mom cooked me bad dinner, so I'm not gonna connect with God today. Things like that. But don't make excuses, is what I'm trying to say. It's basically you have to try at least like take one step forward because every time you take a step forward into out of your comfort zone that means growth is already happening And if you're out of that bubble, and that's already a victory. Like, okay, even though I don't like my mom's dinner, I'm still gonna eat it. I'm quoting, this isn't from me, this is my little brother. So, anyways, yeah, so that's a step for you. I mean, for me, like, when I was playing the guitar, I was really scared in the beginning because I know I wouldn't get anything. Like, I didn't know a single chord. I mean, I knew how to play the violin, but that's it. But when I started playing or like kept practicing the same song over and over, like I got better and better. And I guess like I self-taught myself how to play the guitar, kind of. I'm still learning. I'm still new, so don't put me there yet. Um, so, um, so yeah, I felt like slowly I got better. Like even like one step out of the comfort zone every time, and I felt like I was able to grow. And who does anyone, you can raise their hand, but does anyone believe in failure? Okay, great. Um, that's not true. There is no failure because as long as you learn something from it or gain something from it, I think that's not a failure. I think that's a victory. Um, Personally, I feel like I failed a lot of. Okay, I made many mistakes in my life, and I feel like I always put myself in a lot of shame because I feel like I failed at it. But actually, like maybe I tried something new, but then I don't like it. But then it helped me to kind of realize like, oh, I like this better. It's always kind of like a victory to kind of learn from these failures. And yeah, so the second point is I really encourage you to, just try. Like take one step. Just try. But also, yeah. I mean, for me, I didn't expect myself to go to GPA until I said it during Koho, like I'm going to GPA, and I dropped the mic somewhere. Um, but honestly, going into it, I had no feeling or care, or I only joined because I missed signing up for classes for college. And yeah, I was like, I guess that helped me step out of my comfort zone. But I made a mistake, but not signing up for college. And I went to GPA. Wow, that's great. But I feel like because of that mistake, I grew a lot from it, from GPA, obviously. And yeah, and so yeah, always learn from your mistakes. If you try and then you make mistakes again, it's okay. Um, Yeah, I have a couple quotes from True Father. It says, I'm not going to explain anything about it, but I'll just read it. It says, you must know that you are going to be defeated in the long run unless you consider your circumstances to become able to either adjust or maintain your course through everything. How to digest and conquer your environment is a question. Don't ever try to escape from life, but feel challenged and persevere. Um, And then in the life of faith, we must not fix our glance on what is happening only at the moment, but look far off into the future toward the goal where God is hailing us. So, yeah, everything that you're doing, it reaches up to a certain goal. And if it might be hard to see in the moment, but actually it's true. You just gotta believe it. So, yes. And then actually, this comes into my last point that I want to share, but it's always be committed to grow. I'm sure there's a lot of older people here. I don't want to say old because no one's old. They're just older. Um, and I'm pretty young. So, but everybody in every age and every stage in their life, even in the womb, they, you, there's always room for growth. And I feel like that's how I felt every time. Like every time I reach like a new achievement or a new level, like I feel like there's more of a challenge that comes up in the future. So I feel like, yeah, I feel like people who, that's what makes businesses successful because they always think that there's always room to grow and always new ways to kind of challenge themselves to kind of reach a higher level. or that's what makes a person successful in the first place. And I think, okay, maybe not for me, but I feel like naturally, if you're always committed to grow, you're gonna find the people that likes you. You're gonna have good friends, is what I'm trying to say. Um, and yeah, I feel like you can always kind of build your relationship with God as long as you kind of improve your skills or whatever that you're trying to do. Like, I guess always consistently doing handake or prayer or whatever. Um, yeah, and then also like committing to grow doesn't mean like you're always going up, but it always means like you have your ups and you have your lows, but in the end you're always making progress and you're always having those kind of victories to kind of claim for yourself. And yeah, I think if you grow, you naturally grow your relationship with God, and I think that's something I felt too. And so I felt like personally for me, I read a lot of books, but I hate reading, but I still read a lot of books. I don't know if you guys know these books. Yeah? Oh, cool, great, wonderful. Yeah, these books really helped me to understand not just in terms of faith, but in life in general, on how to kind of lead myself or like how to be a person of a leader. Because I feel like a leader isn't someone that always goes up and like speaks and like kind of leads everything, but also like people who are like participants or listeners, they are also have that potential to be a leader as well. And then yeah, it helped me to realize like, yeah, a leader isn't something that is like high up there or like someone who is like cool and is like a president or something, but it's like someone who is always helping me to kind of realize, or like someone who is like someone who really understands like how to really like listen well, how to really take care of people well in general, and how to take care of yourself most importantly. And so I feel like for me, throughout my experience for 5 years, I felt like I've been always having like my highs and my lows, and I don't see it at the moment, and it's very challenging sometimes. But in the end, I felt like I was able to grow myself as a person, um, and kind of overcome these challenges. So always commit to grow. So yeah, that was basically everything. I guess I want to recap from what I said earlier. Um, oh, sorry. I also do High Noon. I'm part of High Noon. That's the wrong one. It's this one. But yeah, I'm also a part of High Noon, and it really helps me a lot to kind of keep integrity within myself and also help that to express that to others. So yeah. So that's basically everything. Just to recap what I said, to understand God is your responsibility to reach out and see how God is personally reaching out to you. God is a part of you, and everyone holds a part of God that not everyone has. So if you express it, that means you're expressing that God to someone else that that person doesn't know. And yeah, it's good to be confident in yourself with that. And to make God real, discover your uniqueness, try, and always commit to grow. So that's basically my message for today. Thank you very much.